guys, Rebecca here for the next episode of the Monday Mr. Money Mustache Motivation, and this one is going to be super helpful. This is an article that he wrote back on July 25th, 2013, and this one's titled 50 Jobs Over $50,000 Without a Degree, Part 1. So yes, there is a Part 2. If y'all haven't already, subscribe down below so you won't miss Part 2 next week. Because if he wrote this article back in 2013, then these jobs likely are making significantly more than $50,000 nowadays, and the fact that they don't require a degree is a wonderful thing. So, without further ado, we'll get into the list here. When people write to me for help, I'm often confronted with a dilemma. Many of them are hardworking and intelligent people who are making responsible financial choices, but due to the non-negotiable nature of math, not ending up with as large of a monthly surplus of cash at the end of the month as their higher income counterparts. Even more troubling are letters from recent graduates in fields like liberal arts or even law. My degree was expensive, they tell me, but the jobs that are out there in my field don't pay enough to get me out of this huge student loan debt hole. How am I supposed to get a nice bushy stash when we don't have a six-figure household income like so many of the other MMM readers seem to have? I'm over 30 years old and I only recently cracked $40,000 in income. The thing about earning money is this: nobody is going to pay you any more money than they have to. So if you want the benefit of a higher income, the first step is to make sure you're not being complacent with your lower one. In fact, why bother with a job that requires a degree at all if it doesn't pay accordingly? In my current position of man who no longer needs a job, I have the rare privilege of circulating around the country and meeting new people and then hearing what they do for a living. And what I have learned has blown my mind. While our parents always told us that you need a degree to get anywhere in the job market, the reality has been flipped on its head in the last 2 decades. There are all sorts of people out there quietly making a mint in occupations that I thought were either non-existent or low-paying. Some of them have questionable skills and you could easily outperform them in their own job, and yet many of the university-educated job seekers are stuck on the other side of this easy money divide. To help whet your alternative money-making whistle, here are a few of the ways I have recently learned that people make reasonable incomes without any formal training. Since there are about 2,000 work hours in a year, we can define a $50,000 job as one that pays over $25 per hour or $200 per workday. Category 1, good old-fashioned manual labor. While everyone streams through the university and competes for the office jobs, the traditional trades have seen a shortage of new arrivals for many years. As a result, wages have gone up, but to capture the good pay in this area, you generally need to run your own small business rather than working for an existing company. The wage differential is often over 300%. Number 1, carpenter, my perennial favorite. Once you have a good reputation in an area with nice houses and good incomes, it's easy to earn over $50 per hour building things, even things as simple as fences or decks. Kitchens and bathrooms generally pay even better. No formal training is required, but it helps to work alongside another good carpenter for a year or two or take classes at a community college. Number 2, plumber, slightly more traditional and formal. In my area, this job requires a 2-year apprenticeship before you can get your own first level license, but that really just means you get paid $20 to $30 per hour while learning. Then you start your own business and start charging $80 and hire your own apprentice to further increase profits. Number 3, welder. I stumbled across this self-employment goldmine when I learned metalworking myself in 2005. In summary, rich people always need custom steel work done on their houses. Not many people know how to do it. So it's easy to charge $50 to $70 per hour for running your welder and grinder alongside some basic design skills. Number 4, electrician. I recently quizzed an apprentice electrician working in my own area. He was a degree-holding geologist who ended up taking this job because it paid better. 2 years of apprenticeship or a shorter amount in community college, and you can write the test to get your first level license. His boss was billing him out at $65 per hour, and the boss's time itself comes in at $85. Number 5, painter. Nobody does their own painting these days, and thus they often go searching for painting companies to handle it. But most of these companies are run by disorganized and occasionally rude owners who don't know how to return an email. So your company, with its polite and professional management, will have very little trouble carving out all the business it can handle. Once established, pay can be $25 to $40 per hour depending on how wisely you bid. Higher if you hire employees to work for you for $10 to $15 to speed you up. Number 6, Tile setter, an ideal combination with painter above because the same skills make you good at both. This pays a little higher and you get to create fine bathrooms and kitchens. Bid out both tiling and painting and watch customers line up. Number 7, landscape company owner, a little trickier because it requires knowledge of plants and design principles as well as heat tolerance, but in general a lucrative field if you work in a high-income area. Nobody does their own gardening these days. Number 8, excavator, an oddball choice, but it can work for you if you like ultra-powerful machines and do the math right. You can rent a huge track drive excavating machine delivered for $400 per day plus fuel, or buy a used one for about $50,000. This qualifies you to dig foundations and other work, often under contract for local custom house builders or city governments, which yield about $1,000 to $2,000 per day of work. The guy I hired for my own house building company was a former math major who found the excavating business to be more profitable. You might invest $200,000 into equipment if you have a dump truck, trailer, bobcat, and digger, but if that $200,000 is allowing you to make $100,000 per year more than you otherwise would, it is a huge return on investment. Plus, you are a hero to little boys all over town. Number 9, house builder. Although doing this professionally didn't agree with my own temperament, the pay is good if you focus on building dream homes for rich people as opposed to speculatively building houses to sell as I foolishly did. Builders get about 15 to 20% of construction costs, which works out to roughly $100,000 for a 6-month project of full-time work. You must enjoy supervising other trades, however, which is like herding cats. Number 10, mechanic. Once you know how to fix a car, all your friends and neighbors will want you to fix theirs. Even if you underbid the real garages, you can still earn over $50 per hour in your own garage, then later expand to a real facility once the customer base grows. Next category, the internet. These occupations are exotic because they are new and often silly sounding, but they are real as I am learning as I meet more of these people earning ludicrous amounts of money. The key to it is the size of the internet. It's effectively infinite, so you only need a tiny market share to be bigger than the big local tycoons of the olden days. Number 11, WordPress developer. What do I use to write this blog? WordPress, just like everybody else with a blog. That means millions of people and companies need this system to work for them, and many thousands of them are depending on it to make a living. If you're an expert at making it work, they will pay you lots. Relatively simple programming and a high-level open architecture make it one of the easier forums of software development to learn. With an established customer base, pay is $60,000 to $100,000 plus per year. Number 12, blogger. I thought this just involved occasionally typing some shit into the computer for a few laughs, but when attending last year's financial blogger conference in Denver, I saw over 400 bloggers gathering in a swanky hotel with fancy sponsors and VIP treatment. Some of them, like Ramit Sethi, now running entire organizations with millions of dollars in annual profit. Given interesting enough content, it's not all that hard to build up a blog with a following of a small newspaper or magazine, and with some low-key sponsorship or advertising, that is good enough to make a living. This blog, in case you are curious, now generates a 6-figure income in just under 3 years into its existence, and my income is on the very low side for sites of this size. 5.4 million page views in February of 2014. Number 13, passive income guru. One of my internet heroes, Pat Flynn, has a radar-like mind for finding ways to create little niche websites that sell nicely packaged information to people who search for it. These lodge themselves into search engines and start generating low-effort streams of money. I've noticed the same effect with my own articles on how to build a shower pan and the cheap mobile phone plan. People show up every day from search engines looking for these topics. If I took the time to make a nice shower building ebook or an ultimate phone plan guide, I could actually sell those for $5 each and make hundreds of dollars per day. 14, interesting ideas guy/girl. This is an elusive one, but Chris Gielbo, I'm probably saying his last name wrong, and Tim Ferriss are great examples. You learn about and do amazing things and then teach others about what you learned. Eventually you can write books about it, which people will buy, and companies will hire you to be on their boards just because of the amazing allure and buzz you have created. But it all starts with becoming an expert in something that everyone wishes they were an expert at. Next category, creative and artistic. As manufactured items become more played out and commoditized, Creative people are increasingly finding ways to get paid for their work. After all, Apple Computer is rich because of its mastery of design, not its technical sophistication. Number 15, writer. The job that used to be thankless and underpaid, and still is if you work in the rank and file at newspaper or magazines. But these days, if you write an amazing novel and self-publish it on Amazon, you have a far better chance of paying for your groceries than the hapless, quote, I got 75 rejections in the mail today, end quote, authors of yesteryear. Number 16, techno music composer. Just like writing, music has become an open meritocracy. Through Pandora streaming, I discovered the music of a youngster and fellow Canadian named deadmau5. And he has made it huge, rocking stadiums full of people around the world whenever he likes, just because great dancey music pops into his head and he produces it using the awesome power of Ableton Live. This idea is close to my heart as I made loads of music using older versions of the software through my youth, and now my 7-year-old son has become both a deadmau5 fan and composer himself, with over 30 cute, catchy house songs under his belt. If the habit sticks, he could be on the turntables in front of stadiums before he even graduates from high school. Or the hobby might open other doors. Either way, there's no bad reason to learn a creative new skill. Number 17, YouTube channel owner. Debatable. With broadcast TV being obsolete, there are now millions of viewers available to watch anything you create. Some guy named Randall talked for 2 minutes about the honey badger, and it's over 61 million views now, and he's probably set for life. Marquis Scott happened to make himself into the most awesome dancer in the world and is now paid approximately for it after 91 million views on his Pumped Up Kicks recording. World-dominating fame, which he achieved by simply setting a camera on the ground and rocking out in front of a bank building for a few minutes. The efficiency is beautiful. But YouTube is not just for freaky stuff that unpredictably goes viral. Much of the money being made there is meat and potatoes hard work stuff. Teenagers create hundreds of well-made Minecraft instructional videos with their own personal brand and style. Eric the car guy does well telling us how to fix our cars. Guitar and piano lessons done well earn their makers more than they would from teaching live students. Like any of the jobs above, successful video production requires an attention to detail and conscientious bit of hard work. None of these jobs are easy, get-rich-quick schemes as far as I can tell. Easy riches are not a reproducible model, but the point is there's more than one way to make a buck if you keep your eyes open and step outside the conventional. Well, look at that. We've got a long article and we're only getting warmed up, but the real story of entrepreneurial money making is not the stuff that I think up off the top of my own head. It's the things that you dream up and share with the rest of the world. Because of this, I've requested Mrs. Money Mustache, Tyler Tavorin of Advanced Riskology and World Domination Summit fame, and Treehouse founder Ryan Carson to help out with part 2 of this series, and I'd also like to recruit you. And he asked for people to comment in the comment section of his blog any more occupations they know of that will pay $50,000 or more without a degree. So, like I said, part 2 is coming next week. If you have not already, leave me a like down below, subscribe, hit the bell, that way you'll be notified when next week's video comes out discussing part 2. And I would like to point out that some of these that he mentioned required a 2-year apprenticeship, and even though I do have a college degree, just for comparison's sake here, I do ultrasound for a living, if you did not know, and the degree I have is a 2-year degree. It is a 2-year Associate of Applied Science to do ultrasound for a living, and starting salary for that I would say is easily over $50,000 a year. So if you're talking about return on investment, yes, my career required a degree, but it was only a 2-year degree. I earned my degree through a community college, so it wasn't very expensive and the return on investment is nice. I've been in the field now for almost 9 years, and now my salary is well above that $50,000 mark. So decent return on investment for only a 2-year degree. So yeah, if you enjoyed this one, let me know in the comment section down below. If you have a career that doesn't require a degree or doesn't require a 4-year or more degree that pays well, let us know in the comment section down below, and I'll see y'all next Monday for part 2. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.